Fantasy Blind Spot, where we shine the light on what you can't see. He's a cornerstone piece. He's a guy you're going to want on your fantasy team.
It's all about them splash plays.
Oh my God, did that just happen? I can't believe he made that catch.
He's got that big play ability.
The football gods made this guy to play football.
All right, so he's just an explosive runner. He's one of those guys that when he gets in the open space, he just puts his foot in the ground and he's gone. What's up? Welcome into Fantasy Blind Spot, where we shine the light on things you can't see. I am the Blind Guy. You can find me on the X at the Blind Guy FF. With me, as always, is my co-host, the crazy Canadian Shawn Thompson. You can find him on X at Maximus8911. Thanks everybody for listening. How you doing, bud?
Doing all right. How you doing?
Not too bad. Last thing, also, people, remember to hit that like and subscribe. Get us in the algorithm. Help us out. We're new to video. And we're also here for you guys. So let us know what you'd like to see.
Yeah, for sure. There's putting up little QR codes there up in the corner as we go to where you can find our channel. Give it a picture and it'll take you there. You can find past episodes or clips or whatever we got going on. But we got the schedule release happen. Anything jump out of that?
Aside from how many overseas games we have and out-of-country games this year,
it's ridiculous.
I get wanting to expand, but this is wild. It's 9 games, right?
Well, if you look at San Francisco, they fly like, what is it? It's just under 40,000 miles, somewhere between 35,000 and 40,000. So somewhere in there. And they're the team that travels the most. Well, they start friggin' week 1 going to Australia.
Yeah, that's going to add to anything. I think that's like, I think that's a 2-day trip just to get there.
Well, it's 24 hours for sure for me from where I am. And I would have to fly to LA just to catch a plane, the next plane to go over. So it's 2 planes for me, but I think it's like a 12-hour flight or something like that for them. It's still ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But then you got the Carolina Panthers. So I think that trip alone is something like 4,000 miles for San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And Carolina Panthers, all they travel is just over 8,000 miles all season.
It's always fun every year to see like the team travel distances, and some of them, like San Francisco, I'm sure is always high, but part of that is also probably where they're at in the country. You know, so it's fun to look at, but either way, that does take a toll on your body. Like 40,000 miles in the air. Has anyone ever done a study?
Like every time I fly, man, I get so dried out in my internal organs.
Oh yeah.
I just have to guzzle water once I land, and then it's like peeing like crazy.
Jet lag. Yep, jet lag is real.
As Alex was saying, here's all our international games that we got for this season. Obviously, there's San Fran and LA in week 1 in Australia. Just freaking nuts going that
crazy.
far. Then the next one we got is week 3 with the Ravens going to the Cowboys, which that'll be a pretty good game.
Yeah, I think that should be interesting.
Then we hit our London stretch for weeks 4 to 6, where we got the Colts going to Washington, the Jaguars host the Eagles and the Texans, because that owner really wants to move over there because he owns Manchester United.
Right. On that, is that earlier than last year? Wasn't that like week 10 or 11 last year?
No, they normally do it like mid-October, something like that, because these international games, they don't really get in the last quarter of the season.
Yeah, that makes sense. They want to get everybody home and acclimated again.
Yeah, and then we got Paris in week 7 between your Steelers and your Saints.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
Yeah, if anything, right? And then we got in Madrid, we got in week 9 the Bengals versus the Falcons. Munich in week 10 between New England and the Lions, and then week 11, San Francisco's got 2 of these damn things.
Jeez.
The Vikings and the 49ers. Like, I get the Jaguars because they're going back-to-back weeks, and they like being over there. The owner actually asked for that, but why are you giving San Francisco 2 frigging international games?
Yeah, that's
a
weird.
Other than the Jaguars.
Yeah, I can't remember it. I mean, maybe it's happened. My whole thing with these international games, too, is how they schedule the bye weeks. I know we've talked about it on the pod before, but there should be a little more coordination between their bye week and this international travel because of the distances and the wear and tear on your body. Like, how many times have we seen crappy London football for the first half because the guys just aren't acclimated to that time zone yet? So yeah, it'll be interesting because that's a ton of time zones we're talking about.
And I think you can't really do that until you expand the games to 20 weeks with 18. You know what I mean? Like go to 18 games with 2 bye weeks. Then you can really get that in there.
Or just give them a bye week after that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Schedule their bye week after their long travel.
But
it
like
might
week
suck
1, you
going
can't
in.
give them a bye week after that one. And that one's like,
Yeah, exactly.
that's why I think that one's the dumbest spot to put that. But at the same time, it's the
Where
beginning
else are you going to
of the
put
season,
it?
so you
Yeah.
could go down there technically 2 weeks early to get acclimated.
Right. Right. And maybe that's what the NFL's thinking. Either way you look at it, like that's going to be tough week 2 for both those teams.
Oh, for sure. And then we got 5 teams, which I know me and you have been saying this for the last couple of years because they've been giving everybody primetime games. But we got 5 teams with no primetime games: the Dolphins, the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Jets, and the Titans. Which I like this. None of these teams deserve to be on primetime. They're not ready for any type of show for people to be watching. You're just going to embarrass the franchise. Let these young teams, do some work, start working together, and get a little bit of gel going, and see what they can add next year, and then maybe get them some primetime games. But if you're like in these types of team situations where you're doing a complete rebuild, I don't think you should have primetime games.
Oh, I agree. I mean, all those teams picked in the top 10 this year. It makes sense. They were probably the worst teams in the league last year. Give them a chance. Like it used to be that you had to earn primetime games, right?
Yeah.
Or at least pay a shit ton for them, in maybe Dallas's case where they became America's team and all that with the marketing. But if this is signaling that you have to get back to earning primetime games, I like it. There's probably still a few teams that are going to end up in primetime this year due to injury or just not being as good as we thought that are going to be crap primetime. But at least cut out the ones are not going to be good like this.
Yeah, and there's nothing to say that these teams can't get their way into a primetime game once those flex schedules start coming if they're playing well enough. Maybe
exactly.
Get flexed into a Sunday night or something like that.
Yeah, like for example, Tennessee, if Cam Ward takes that step and has maybe that CJ Stroud kind of year where he just puts everything together, has the coaches around him and that leadership, and then Cornell Tate is the real deal like we think, maybe they're better than they think we are. And by the end of the season, they are being flexed into that spot, or at the very least, they get one next year because they showed that big improvement.
Yeah, so, and what do you think of these Wednesday night games this year? That's ridiculous to me. Like,
yeah,
what the hell are they doing?
I don't understand. Especially, what's going to get real frustrating is the fantasy championships this year when there's, I think it's 4 days of games over like a week or something like that. Like by the time you get to Sunday, your matchup is going to be damn near decided with some of these games. The NFL's trying to be on every day of the week. I don't get it.
No,
like, there is such a thing as too much.
How many people do you know that hate that Thursday night matchup because the players just aren't ready yet physically? Like right. It's shit football. The teams have to condense. What do you think they're going to do friggin' for Wednesdays? They got to be even more condensed. Just ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't understand it. The NFL trying to take over every day of the calendar. But again,
well,
sometimes
we also have the top 10 games of 2026. This was put out by the NFL schedule people, so they think it's the best 10 games. Let's see what you think. So they got number 1. They got the Los Angeles Rams versus the Seattle Seahawks. So that's at Seattle. It doesn't say the weeks on this, which I guess I should have looked up before coming on, but I didn't. Which that's always a good game. Like anywhere in right now between those 3 teams, like they at number 6, they have San Fran versus LA and LA. Yeah, those teams are just
they're good teams. You're going to see good football. They're division rivals. They know each other well, so it makes it even more of a chess match in those games.
So at second, they got the Chiefs versus the Bills in Buffalo, which Josh Allen will win that because it's in season, but it's still always a good game. So I'll agree with that.
And I also want to know when is that game, because is Mahomes healthy or is he still rusty from coming back from the knee? So yeah, it should be a good game.
I'd imagine that one's later though.
Yeah, I would hope so because of that.
Then we got number 3. They got the Packers versus the Bears in Chicago. Again, rivalry, always good.
Right.
Number 4 is the Steelers versus the Ravens in Baltimore. Again, rivalry, always good.
And that's going to be good no matter where, whether it's in Baltimore or Pittsburgh. They're both going to be good.
Well, then they got at 5 the Buffalo Bills versus the Patriots. That one will be good to see how Drake May and Josh Allen can go at it. Year 2 of May starting.
Yep, I agree.
6 already said. 7 is the Broncos versus the Patriots. So Bo Nix versus Drake May. I guess they got as a good matchup.
Well, and that's a rematch from the AFC Championship last year, right? Except there was no Bo Nix because busted ankle.
Then we got the Chiefs versus the Seahawks at 8, which that one's kind of a weird one.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I guess the NFL still thinks the Chiefs are the team to beat.
Yeah, they must because they got them on here twice. Then we got the Ravens versus the Bengals. Again, rivalry, always good to see. And then the final one they got is the Patriots versus the Seahawks.
So a lot of Patriots and Seahawks.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Chiefs.
Yep.
Couple Rams, like pretty interesting teams there.
Yeah. As always, we'll get some surprise great games too. Those are sometimes the best ones.
Yep, for sure. Got a couple other things here we can do. What would you rather do here? The Super Bowl per teams, or actually, let's go with this. So, most selfish moments in NFL history. These made me laugh, man. Number one is obviously the Antonio Brown 2021 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking.
Oh yeah, ripping off his jersey, throwing the gloves in the stands.
I don't know how you don't have that number one.
Yeah,
that one there to me is right.
Yeah.
Number 2, they got Vontae Davis when he retired at halftime for the
Bills.
That
was the next one. That was the next one that came to mind for me. Just quitting at halftime. Like, nope, I'm done.
Then at number 3, they got Terrell Owens. Demands a contract rewrite, feud it with McNabb, and worked out in his driveway. I don't know if that would be number 3.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassing NFL moment.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's necessarily like, yeah, it's selfish, but is that really hurting the team necessarily as much? Contract holdout, like that happens all the time.
He did way worse when in San Francisco with Jeff Garcia calling him gay, saying he has a fairy throwing him the ball that doesn't put enough heat on it and stuff like that, and that's why he's dropping the balls. Yeah. But then we got Le'Veon Bell, and number 4 refused the $14.5 franchise tag, sat out the entire season long term, and never came back after he got a huge contract from the Jets.
Yeah, he just was never the same after that. With the Jets, they even tried to give him the volume, and it was just terrible. It was almost like he needed that offensive line in Pittsburgh in front of him.
Well, Tomlin had designed that offensive line to work for his run style because he was such a patient runner. So
yeah, he's very unique run style.
He was never going to work anywhere else in my mind. And I traded him before he signed with the Jets in fantasy.
I could see it.
Not working anywhere else. Number 5 for most selfish moments, we got Earl Thomas in 2008 when he was getting carted off and flipped off the sidelines.
Oh yeah, I remember that one too.
Yeah, that was a beauty. 6, Albert Haysworth when he held out for $100 million deal and then he just laid there on the ground after a play.
Yep, I remember that one too.
And then 7, this one here I think should be higher on the list, but Keyshawn Johnson when he 2003 with John Gruden, and they were feuding, so he sat him the last 7 games for no reason. He was just a healthy scratch and the best player on their team.
Yeah, I think I remember that discussion, but I was younger at that time, so I wasn't as tuned in as now. But I do remember hearing stories about that, and I think that ended up like ruining their Super Bowl chances that year, didn't it?
Yep, for sure it did. Then we got the year after, number 8, Randy Moss, when he left the field, a few seconds left with an onside kick, and he got a whole bunch of criticism from his teammates and stuff. And then he was traded the next season to the Raiders.
Yep, that'll do it.
Then we got, I can't say this guy's name, but for the Jets, Ike Inikapali, when he sucker punched Geno Smith in the locker room.
Yep. That was right after he was drafted.
Yep.
He was a rookie. That's just crazy.
Number 10 is Deshaun Jackson, celebrating early, flipping the ball backwards at the 1-yard line on Dallas. Now, I don't know how you have this NFL's most selfish freaking moments. I guess that would be a stupid moment. That might be on the next one we got. I was going to say the Minnesota Viking guy that picked up the fumble and ran it in for the touchdown the wrong way and ended up getting a safety.
Yeah.
I guess that's not a selfish moment. That's more like a brain dead moment.
Yeah, knucklehead. Biggest knucklehead moments.
Yep. So I thought some of those were pretty neat to see. Good old memories. Sure. And then we got here NFL records nobody wants to break. These ones are funny too. So we got The most career interceptions is Brett Favre with 336. Played over 20 seasons. That's just going to happen. He threw one every game. Like, I remember being back in the day watching like Steve Young go and get some, because that was like the playoff days where it was either the Packers, the Cowboys, or the Niners. And if it was the fourth quarter and Favre hadn't thrown one yet and we were down by a touchdown, it was like, don't worry, Brett's about to throw a touchdown on an interception on this drive, and we're going to come back. And sure enough, he always would.
Could you imagine the heyday of being like a Brett Favre fan and the roller coaster that you have every single time you watch him?
Oh, it was, man. Like, he was a good quarterback, but like in today's league, he wouldn't have lasted long. Not with how many interceptions he's throwing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing too, is like, this is like Jameis Winston, but with a Hall of Fame arm on the good side.
Yep.
So it's crazy to think about. And like 336, he played 20 seasons. No one's ever coming close to that.
No, I wouldn't say
I just don't see it.
They don't have Peyton Manning's single season rookie interceptions on here, but I think that would be another one nobody wants, because he doesn't.
That was what, 20?
18, I think.
Yeah, right around there. It was a lot. I know that.
Next one we got is most consecutive losses. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers hit 26 for an all-time record.
Yeah, I'm not sure that one's going to be broken either. There's just
the 3 seasons, man.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Then we got most career times sacked. Tom Brady, 565 times, which, again, not surprising, like Favre played so much, right?
Right. Exactly. And right, like you said, played so much. It's another one. I don't think that's going to get touched. I mean, there's some guys that get sacked a ton. The difference now between guys today and Brady is Brady knew how to take a sack without hurting himself. Like, there was times he would just sit down, right?
Yeah.
So he's smart about it.
Same with Brett Favre, because he gave Michael Strahan the sack record. And then we got most fumbles in a career is also Brett Favre with 166.
Just insane.
His play style.
Over 500 turnovers. It's just crazy.
This one here kind of surprised me, but not really at the same time. It was his next one, actually. Most interceptions for a season, George Blanda, 42 for one season.
That's just bananas.
How do you have a 42 interception season and then you play quarterback until you're like, what was he, 48?
Yeah, sounds about right. 45, I think.
Yep. Crazy. Then we got most points scored in the game was the Chicago Bears with 73, and they won 73-0. That was like back in the 20s.
Just insane to even see that many points in a game back then, too.
Oh, big time. And then most career missed field goals. This was the one that surprised me. It was George Blanda with 306.
Didn't he also kick for like 30 years or something crazy?
He kicked and played quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. It's just crazy.
How you miss it 306 times, but I guess if you're being a kicker for 20 some years, that's going to happen.
Yeah, and your team must have been good because you're scoring a shit ton, right?
Yep.
You got to think about how many he had to make, because I think his percentage was like 60 or 70.
Then we got the final one here is the longest playoff loss streak is the Detroit Lions with 9.
Goo. They broke that though, right?
I think they won last year, the year before for the first time.
Yeah, they've won a couple of them. So.
Alrighty. Well, let's get in. We had another draft. It's a super flex draft. We've got our first 4 rounds. We can get in quick talkly about it before we get in and talk some ball. So the first round here, obviously Jeremiah Love, he's going 1 everywhere. I haven't seen anything different.
No, I haven't either.
Followed by 2, which is Carnell Tate. I've seen Mendoza go there, but it's like at probably a 10% rate. Mostly it's Tate there.
Yeah, that sounds about right with my drafts too.
Then we got 3 went Mendoza, 4 went Jordan Tyson, 5 was Jadarius Price, 6 was Malachi Lemon. You came in at 7 and took KC Concepcion.
Yep. And that was a trade back for me from 3. So at that point, I was hoping Lemon might fall there because I had seen him go there in a couple drafts, but I'll take KC easy. So
all right. Then we had Kenyon Shadiq went in between you at 8. followed by you with Nicholas Singleton at 9. And the people will probably want to hear about that one, but I was hoping he'd actually fall to 10. So I don't think you were far off getting him there.
Yeah, that, and I don't have a lot of Singleton, but the man scored a ton of touchdowns in college, which typically translates to NFL success. He's also a big body that can catch the ball, had over 100 catches in his college career. So this team that I have, I am very RB needy, and I could have taken or could have tried to trade and take Price at 5, but I have enough of him in other places. I want to be a little different with some of my teams, and this build needs running back, and give me some Singleton I don't have a lot of.
Yeah, I was hoping to get Singleton just because my running backs are old, and I'm thinking he's going to be the guy by the end of the season. That brought it to me at 10. I went Omar Cooper Jr. Not the guy I really wanted, but you got to take what's there at sometimes.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I find it after you hit that 1.09, it's hard to trade in this draft class.
Oh, very, very. I think that part of it is just there's not a big enough of a difference there at the guys that are consensus back of the first between them and the top of the second. Like we've said, any order you could see them, and our drafts have played out that way.
For sure. Then we finished off the first round with Denzel Boston and Ted Hurst.
The Ted Hurst one surprised me a little bit.
Surprised me a lot, but then he doesn't have a pick again until the 3rd, I think it was, or the 4th. So he was just going for broke, really, right? Like take a swing for the fences.
Right.
Started the second round here. I had the first pick of the second. Ty Simpson was still there. I was debating about him at 10 between him and Cooper. So there's no way I wasn't taking Ty Simpson here. I got both guys I debated about at 10.
Right. And like we've said, love the situation. The fact he doesn't have to play right away and he gets to learn from McVay and Stafford can't be the value at 201.
Like the only way he's getting in is if Stafford gets hurt.
Yep. And even then, they also have Garoppolo on the roster still, right? So
yeah, but I wouldn't want to. I don't think McVay plays him. He's too soft. At 2.02, Jonah Coleman went, followed by you with Jermaine Bernard at 2.03.
Yeah, I was happy to get him there. I'm surprised he fell to me there because I also didn't have him in a lot of leagues.
We've even seen him go in the first round. He was followed up by Eli Stowers, followed up by Chris Bell, followed up by Kenyon Allen, and then me and you made a trade, and I traded in and took Antonio Williams here. I got him as one of the last kind of upper echelons wide receivers, so I had to go in and get him.
Yeah, and he's another one I like. And this is, again, one of those situations where I wanted to build this team a little differently than I have other ones. And Antonio Williams is someone that I targeted in a lot of my leagues. So sometimes it pays off to differentiate sometimes.
I think that's my only share of them. So I don't have many. 2.08 was Mike Washington. 2.09 was Emmett Johnson, followed by Zachariah Branch, which I don't know why people are taking him so damn early.
That's around the range I've seen him, is about 210 to 305.
But there's no way I'm taking him before Striblin, Fields, or Brazell, which is who we finished up with.
Yeah, and that's fair. I think part of it, too, is just people looking at the situation in Atlanta and going, who's the 2? He's going to be on the field. Which, again, with some of those other guys, you kind of point the same thing, right? So, Brazel, we don't know because Carolina, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think who they got. Don't they still have Mooney?
No, he's a
free
agent. No, I'm pretty sure his contract is up end of the season last year. So I think he's gone.
All right, we'll get to round 3. Started it with me with Kenyon Black. I don't feel overly solid about that pick, but at the same time, with what's left, I'm going to take a shot on the San Francisco back. Hopefully, maybe he gets a start if McCaffrey goes down, and it'd be worth starting at least 1 week, right? So
somebody's going to be. That's how Jordan Mason made his payday in Minnesota.
And then it was followed up by Elijah Surratt, which I thought was the earliest I would see Elijah Surratt go at 3.02. Mm-hmm. But no, we've got a league we'll probably do next week where he went in the second round.
Yep. That's it's too early for me, but there's a lot of people that really like Surratt, and I think they're just totally ignoring or thinking that because Baltimore took 2 receivers that they're going to change that offense and become more pass heavy.
Yeah, I don't see it. Not with Lamar.
Well, it's not even the Lamar factor. It's for me, Derrick Henry. Like you're paying that guy. You've had him in your backfield dominating your offense for a while, and he's the kind of player that needs the ball 20 to 30 times. Like you can't just give him 12 touches and expect him to be awesome.
Well, Lamar's he's only thrown 2 guys over 1,000 yards in his career.
Right. And now that's where you kind of got to ask too, is it the chicken or the egg? Is it because they haven't had the receivers, or is that because Lamar just can't do it? You know what I mean? So maybe we find out this year. I don't know. I also just think hiring Jesse Minter, I think that means that they're going to be defense run heavy again.
Oh, I don't see why
So-
they wouldn't be. That's the friggin' Ravens' MO. Like they're not gonna,
Right.
just like the Steelers. You think the Steelers are going to go to a pass happy team all of a sudden because they got a new quarterback? No, McCarthy's been told we're running the ball, we're playing good defense. That's Steelers ball.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
At 3-3 was you. You went Skylar Bell.
And I don't have him in a ton of places as
I
much
don't
as I
have
like him. So
Single share of him as much as I like that guy.
Yep.
That was followed up by Oscar Delp. Followed up by you with Drew Allard, which I'm surprised you took him over Carson Beck, who went right after Drew Allard.
it's the only share I have of Drew Aller. And I, as much as I don't like McCarthy, he has been great for the quarterback position. And we know Rodgers, this has to be his last year. I don't think there's any chance he comes back.
No, I'd be surprised if he does.
Right. So
That was followed up by 3.7 where Brendan Thompson went. He was a Raiders fan that took him, so obviously speed there. Followed up by Adam Randall, Bryce Lance, Zion Thomas, Max Clare, and Jacoby Lane ended the 3rd round. And we'll quickly go through the 4th round. For those of you that go this far down, as me at 4.01, I took Caleb Douglas. I think I own this guy at every single rookie draft that I have done. If it gets around that 3.06 mark and on, this guy's still there and I'm on the clock. There's no way I can't pass on him, man. And he's like, this guy went in the top freaking 15 in round 3, and people are taking guys that are drafted in the 5th and 6th round wide receivers. I'll take them. That's fine.
Yep. Sometimes that ends up working out. And I think it's people looking at the Dolphins offense and Malik Willis and saying, like, that's not going to work.
Oh, I don't like it either, but
right. But somebody has to catch the ball and they're going to have to throw because their defense isn't going to be good enough to just keep them in every game.
Yep. I agree. Then we had Desmond Claiborne. You took Eli
Heidenreich.
Followed up by Kevin Coleman, Justin Jolly, Seth McGowan, Eli Raridan, Cole Payton, CJ Daniels, Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nessemeyer, and then Marlon Klein.
Yep. And that's where, like, these are all just dart throws. So take the ones you like in the 3rd and 4th round.
Yep, for sure.
There's some interesting ones. Somebody's going to pan out.
But let's get in, talk some ball.
Yes, sir.
Time for the Grape Light, where we discuss what's happening around the league.
All right, welcome to the Grape Light. And we got some news here. Devin Achance has been extended for the Dolphins, and he got a huge payday, but they got really nobody else to pay.
Yeah, and not just that. It was also, I think, hey, we know this is going to be rough, so we're gonna compensate you for how difficult this might be.
Yeah,
So,
it might have
just
a little
crazy.
bit to do with that, but he's going to have to be the guy that carries that whole team this year, I think.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be a lot of A-Chain and Malik Willis running the ball, and then maybe try some play action. I don't know how well it's going to work with that receiver core. We'll see.
Like, I think Achance is going to be the one that gets the most work out of all the running backs in the league this year, but I don't even know if he enters the top 12 for fantasy. That's how rough I think it's going to be for the Dolphins.
And that's where it depends too, like how many of those are going to be catches. I think a majority of it, right? So depending on if it's half PPR, full PPR, that's going to be points all day.
Yep, for sure.
Just going to be, I don't think the explosive weeks are going to be what you had hoped they would be when we saw it sometimes with Tua, where he was going to have 200 yards and a touchdown or 2. You might just get the 1 touchdown, not the second one. And those weeks, you might not even get a touchdown. It might be some of those Gibbs weeks we saw, right? Where it was like 12 catches for 120 yards, but no touchdowns and like 50 on the ground.
Yep, could be. Then another big news that we had that broke yesterday is Rashid Rice has broke his parole violation and is doing 30 days in jail. And he also just got out of the hospital for another procedure on his knee.
Yeah, to all those managers that either have or traded for Rashi Rice, I'm sorry. Like this is just you had to know this risk was there. Sometimes it pays off. I don't think it's going to happen in this case. This is just dude can't get out of his own way.
No, and like Andy Reid is the most, how would I put this, open-minded coach or forgiveness coach. Like, yeah, Rice is going to get a shot somewhere else, sure, once he's done here, because I think his time's slowly fading in KC with all the shit that he's doing. But
well, it's every offseason at this point.
He's not going to get a long leash next time. Like, it'll be you screw up once, you're gone.
Well, do you think he even gets another opportunity with Kansas City, or do you think that they finally say, okay, like, dude, this is every offseason. We can't move forward with expecting to have you when we don't know if we're going to have you every offseason.
Yeah, see, that's where this one might be a little bit tricky because how does the NFL view this, right? Like, you've already been committed of the crime, you've already got your probation, but now because you were all high and drunk when you were racing, those have been put on conditions on you for your probation because they can be like, it's the drinking and the smoking up that made you commit this crime. So if you do that, you commit crimes. So we're going to put this condition on you. And then he still smoked up. Problem, the way I look at it, he had knee surgery, painful, probably smoked up to deal with the pain.
Yeah.
Here, you got to take a piss test. You've been randomly selected and then failed the piss test because he had just smoked up. But I don't know how Andy Reid's going to look at that. I don't know how the NFL is going to look at that because marijuana is legal, right? It's just it'd be like drinking and driving, and then you got no drinking condition put on you, and then you get caught drinking. Are they going to punish them for drinking?
Well,
or
and
just leave it to the legal process?
Well, see, and that's part of it. They'll always let the legal process play out first. But it's also like, yes, pot is legal, but if you're on parole, you know it's not for you. So that's still like, dude, what are you doing here? Like, do you want this NFL career? Because all your actions say you just want to party and have fun and you don't care what happens. I don't know.
Pretty much. Then we got Aaron Rodgers is signing a 1-year deal with the Steelers worth $25 million, which I think is a lot.
Yeah, I would agree. And I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that you're going to give him that much, but I think it was 22 million up to 25 with incentives. I mean, I hope he hits the 25 because that means the Steelers had a great season. But I don't know. I really don't. And it'll be interesting to see if McCarthy plans anything that Rodgers is willing to throw the ball downfield a little more. I'm sure you've seen this stat going around. 67% of Aaron Rodgers' passing yards came after the catch.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't surprise me.
Just average.
The thing I'd be worried about as a Steelers fan, and maybe talk to some Green Bay fans about this, is like, what is their actual relationship like? Like, is he going to get back into these Steelers huddles? McCarthy's going to call a play and he's going to go, fuck that, like he did in Green Bay, and then call his own play, which then starts dividing the locker room up. Because this is, to me, is very risky play by McCarthy to bring in Rodgers.
Well, and that's super interesting because if you read all the reports out of Pittsburgh, all of his teammates are actually thrilled to have him back. Like maybe that's just lip service, but it doesn't seem like it listening to these guys talk. Like they seem like the team at least is genuinely excited to have him back.
Oh, I imagine the players are, yes, but that was also a Tomlin locker room where Tomlin had control. And if I bet you if he changed the play of the freaking huddle on Tomlin, like he's going to hear about it and it's not going to happen again.
So that's where I'm wondering, like, if it does play out, like you said, where he's like over McCarthy halfway through the season and it's okay, I'm going to call my own plays. That gets interesting to, okay, well, is the team backing Rodgers now or are they backing the coach and McCarthy, who's the new guy in town?
Exactly.
And
I think that all depends on if the play on the field works or not when he changes it.
Exactly. Like what's their record? What's their record right now?
Them, right?
Yep.
One more thing we got here. Urban Myers lost his grievance. The Jaguars do not have to pay him the remainder of that $30 million contract from when he was let go from. his shenanigans with the Jaguars, which that should have been on the 10 most embarrassing moments, staying in Cleveland and sending your team back to fucking Jacksonville.
Right, most selfish moments right there. Yep, and to me, like, the Jaguars won in this situation. I hate to look at it that way, but like, congratulations, you saved $30 million from Urban Meyer, but they just had that recent ruling from the guy that's suing FanDuel, right? That stole a bunch of money from the Jaguars. So
yeah, well, he's suing FanDuel too. So
yeah, saying
Jaguars
that it's their fault. Yep.
Liam, that's how good Liam Cohen's doing. He's went into that mess and still winning.
Yes.
We also got the announcements for the Super Bowl in 2030 will be in Nashville.
That should be a crazy Super Bowl. Because have you ever been to Nashville?
I have not. It is one of the places I want to go though.
It's a fun city, and it also can handle a lot of people. So that Super Bowl I think is going to be nuts, especially the way that they planned this so far out in advance. They're going to have it built up. It's going to be, I think,
they're
a fun time down there.
They're in the process of building a new stadium right now too. So
yeah, exactly. And
the debut Super Bowl for it.
Yeah, I was going to say the stadium would be done by then. So I just imagine the area they build up around it is also going to be awesome. Good things for Tennessee right now.
Yep, lots of good things happening there. And we also got the NFL announced the 2028 NFL draft will be held in Minnesota.
What's with the cold areas?
That's what I was wondering, man. Like, okay, Pittsburgh, I could kind of see in like end of April, May, right? Like you're a little bit south. It's going to be cool, but not too cool because of where you are. Minnesota, that's like where I am, man. I was still in jackets and sweaters when the draft was going on. We still have
there might be
snow happening.
I was going to say there might be a foot of snow on the ground.
Minnesota has snow during this draft.
Yeah. Yep.
And then the last thing we got for the news is NCAA news, Texas Tech, that Brendan Sorsby, he's filed an injunction to have his eligible for 2026. If he gets denied this, he's already said he's entering the, what do they call that? The consolation draft or
supplemental draft.
That's it. Supplementary draft. So, and then teams from that are saying if he enters that, he's going to go one because he's looked at as a second round draft pick right now.
Yeah, and there's already some teams that have, at least their media put out that they'd be interested if he was in it. So I also think this is kind of one of those things where like he has to try to go back to the NCAA because what's the NFL going to do with a situation like that? Like, yes, he's not an NFL employee, but he's applying to be one, and he's got, at this point, an admitted gambling history. You can't risk taking that on right now, can you? As the NFL?
They did with Booty.
They did with who?
Shawn Booty and the Patriots.
What? When he
had like, what was it? 256 bets on himself or something like that in college. And the Patriots still drafted him. Took him on because of the talent. He was considered a wide receiver one at one point, right?
Yeah, but I thought he had other off the field stuff too. That he also ended up, he was like a fifth or sixth round pick. So it's not like he was.
Oh yeah, like he dropped in the draft for sure he did. But they still took it on with all that gambling stuff. So I'm just saying there's a history of them taking on these gambling players already.
Yeah, maybe.
And it depends how they bet too, right? Like Booty was betting on himself to win the games and like put up the yardage. Like he never did the unders. He always did the overs.
Did you happen to catch?
I can kind of take that. You're betting on yourself. Right. Okay. Still bad. Here's your slap.
Right.
But...
This situation is quite different. Like he was betting on like Russian badminton, which I didn't even know you could do.
Yeah. So who cares? It's badminton.
No, like that's a gambling problem, I think is what they're saying.
Oh yeah, like for sure it is. But at the same time, it's something you can look forward to. Like you can deal with that. Like there's ways around it. Gambling's a major addiction, just like anything drug wise, right? Like,
I agree. It's just you also got the NBA going and having referees and stuff like that, and now players being charged, and baseball having players being charged. So, just it'll be interesting to see how the NFL handles it if it gets to that point.
Yep. But that's what we got for the news. Now that you got the grapes, go make the wine.
Let's get into it. The league that the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has things to do with, United Football League.
All right, we're into UFL talk, and we can start with the Week 8 matchups that we just had on the weekend. Get a better picture. There we go. So the first game we had is the DC Defenders versus the Louisville Kings, which we said this would be a good game with how the Louisville's been playing lately. And Louisville ended up winning this one 33-30. This was 10-10 at half. So the second half of this was just fantastic game. Plummer put up 238 yards. He had no touchdowns, no interceptions. Oh, wait, that's the wrong game. It was 17-17 at the half.
Okay.
And for the DC Defenders, Spencer Sanders had 83 yards, no touchdowns, one interception. And they had a running back, Valladay, put up 107 yards with a touchdown. And for the Kings, Rogers threw 143 yards, one touchdown, one interception. Isaiah Winstead, remember him? He was a late round draft pick. He had 5 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And it's also like, what is Louisville's ground game doing? Like, it has to be producing most of their offense because Rogers has not been stellar for them. And every week it's right around that 150 to 200 pass yards.
Yeah, and their run game is right around 20 to 30 yards each week. It's their defense that's really playing well.
They must be scoring a lot of defensive touchdowns too, because we're not seeing a lot of numbers offensively as far as touchdowns, but they're still scoring 30 points a week.
Well, the Louisville Kings, man, they had 4 sacks in this game and 3 interceptions.
Yep, and there you go.
Yeah.
That defense is just dominating right now.
For sure. The next game we got here is the Houston Gamblers went in to play the St. Louis Battlehawks in one of the hardest arenas to play in the UFL. Houston's been struggling, but they pull off the upset and won 23-16 here. Deckers for the Gamblers only had 155 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Perez for the St. Louis had 308 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. McBride, his number 1 receiver, had 8 catches for 116 yards, and they had 2 sacks from, I'm not going to be able to say this guy's name, so I'm just going to say his first name, Pitta.
Yep, and this was a surprise to me because I think we both said St. Louis was probably going to win this game.
Oh, they should have.
So turnovers had to be turnovers at the end. Cost them the game.
All right. Next game we got here is the Orlando Storm went in to play the Dallas Renegades. Orlando's been on fire this year. Dallas ended up losing 31-24, putting them to 3-5. Orlando goes to 6-2. And this was that one that was 10-10 at the half when I was looking at the wrong score here. Plummer put up 238 yards. He also ran for 70 and ran two of them in. The other side, Reed had 134 with 3 touchdowns. His number 1 receiver was Seth Green, 2 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown.
Seth Green, like from Family Guy, Seth Green?
Pretty much. I don't know if you remember him, but he was like, he didn't get drafted. He was an undrafted. He didn't even become an undrafted free agent signing in his class.
Well, maybe he's found a home in the UFL, which is something we've talked about. So,
yep, get somebody a little bit of payday to continue to play ball, and why not, right?
Yep, exactly.
All right. Final game of the weekend we got is the Columbus Aviators, struggling this year. One of the worst teams, going against Birmingham, who started out slow, and they've been coming on of late, and they won this game 14-3 to put them to a 4-4 record. McClendon for Columbus had 150 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Dorian Thompson-Robinson on the other side for Birmingham had 126 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Birmingham had 5 sacks and 2 interceptions in this game too.
Yeah, I was going to say this had to be all defense, and McClendon for Columbus has not really put it together. The games they've won are the games that he was able to play within his system and not try to do too much with the turnovers. It's just he has to stop turning the ball over if Columbus wants to have a chance in these games.
Yeah. And then Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he's not playing great either, but he's doing just enough to win these games.
Right, not throwing it away last minute and just let the defense win the game for him. Which, interestingly enough, if he could have done that in Cleveland, he maybe could have had a career.
I don't know about that. We're talking the Browns here.
Yep.
All right, so that brings us to the stand-ins, and here's how it looks like in the UFL. We got the Orlando Storm, the new franchise that just moved there, 6-2, leading it. DC Defenders right after them at 5-3 with the Battlehawks at the same record. The 2 teams at 4-4, the Louisville Kings and the Stallions, both of which started out very slow this season and have moved up to leaderboard board to go to 500. So well done to both those teams. 3 and 5 teams are the Dallas Renegades, the Houston Gamblers, and Columbus sits at the bottom at 2 and 6.
Gonna get that first pick in the draft.
Yep.
Except I don't even. Do they have a draft? How's that even work? I guess we'll have to look into that too. I don't think we've talked about it.
I don't think they have a draft, but they've got to sign
Is
players.
it like
It's
a
kind of like the
waiver
CFL.
priority?
Like they have some type of a draft for the guys coming out, but they could go to the NFL, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of a race to sign the guys that aren't going to be rookies. That's how the CFL works. I'm assuming we'll look into it.
Yeah. It's interesting.
I'm not
We've been covering it
100%
for a couple
I'm
years.
just guessing if it's
yeah.
like the CFL.
Yeah, I have no idea because it's not like they talk about it either because we've never heard about it. So guess we'll find out.
Yep. All right. Well, let's get into week 9 matchups here.
Mhm.
We've got the DC Defenders on Friday at 8 p.m. on Fox going in to play the Orlando Storm. And this is 2 of the top teams in the league. So this is going to be a good game to watch. You got nothing to do Friday, missing some football. Slap it on. You can see these guys go. We're going to have Spencer Sanders probably at quarterback, which is going to be the second quarterback DC's going with. And for Orlando, it's going to be Plummer. He's been going all year. He hasn't been fantastic, but doing just enough to win these games.
Yeah, the game manager not doing enough to say that he's carrying the team, but also not dragging the team down. Both these teams have been playing better. I think Orlando probably comes away with this. That's my estimation. Do you have a feel on which way this game's going to go?
I think DC's going to win it.
See, there you go. It's coin flip.
We'll go to the different side here for that one, but it could go either way as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
All right. The next game we have is on Saturday at 3 p.m. on ABC. It's the Birmingham Stallions sitting at 4-4 going in to play the Columbus Aviators, who are 3-5. Like we said earlier, Birmingham's been coming on lately. Started out slow, but playing well. So I expect them to win this game fairly easy as well.
I believe it's in Birmingham too, correct? So
Nope,
Columbus.
it's in Columbus.
Well, then Columbus has an opportunity here because if they can win this game, they draw even in the standings, and that could help them in the long run. So we'll see what happens, but Columbus just has not been able to get out of their own way.
All right. Then the next games are on Sunday. The first one's at 4 p.m. on Fox, and that's between Dallas and the Louisville Kings. Dallas is at 3-5. Louisville is at 4-4. Again, another team that's been coming on strong as the season's been going on. I expect Louisville to continue and rolling the ball here right over Dallas and going on with Rodgers throwing the ball all over and playing some solid defense again.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is I don't know that Dallas is going to be able to hold on against that Louisville defense. So give me Louisville in the last one too.
All right. Well, then the final game of the weekend we have is on Saturday at 7 p.m. on ESPN2. It's between the St. Louis Battlehawks, who just lost to the Orlando Storm, going in to play the Houston Gamblers, who just pulled off the upset over St. Louis. So these two teams are going back-to-back weeks, playing each other, home to home. They're just games in Houston this time.
Yeah, that should be interesting. And it makes you wonder, too, is it going to be one of those situations where the second time you see each other, nobody can do anything? Or is it the second time around, you're like, okay, let's switch it up, and now we see a shootout?
Well, I think St. Louis is going to take them more serious this time.
Yeah, I would think so.
They probably overlooked them like a trap game last week, going, oh, they're the worst team. We've got this and looking ahead. But if they probably were looking ahead 2 weeks ahead, I guess, if they had to play Houston 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
But that's how we see the UFL weekend coming up.
Brighter light.
All right, we're into brighter light, and I've got a tricky one for Alex today.
All right.
So we'll throw this up there so people can see, but I'm sticking with the running back position like I did last week. Mm-hmm. But we're going James Cook, the running back yardage leader of the NFL in 2025, or last year's first round running back taken, first selection of running backs, Ashton Genty for the Raiders.
Oh, boy. All right, so starting off tough here, James Cook. We've also seen the touchdown production from James Cook, which we have not seen from Ashton Genty. So in some ways, to me, it kind of comes down to which offense do you like better. I think the volume side is going to be on Genty, and I think the offense is going to be better in Buffalo. So I think the touchdown opportunity is going to be there for James Cook, and it's 28 touchdowns over the last 2 seasons. So yeah, I think I'm on the James Cook side here for this season for sure.
Yeah, I think I would be too, but it's a tough one.
For
because
sure.
you know people are going to take Genty over Cook.
Right, and the thing is too, depending on how much you get of Kirk Cousins, if you get a full season of Kirk Cousins, that's check down Charlie. That could be 120 targets for Ashton Genty.
Yeah, be interesting. But if I was on the clock in a seasonal, I'm going James Cook. If it's dynasty, I'm probably leaning more Ashton Genty, hoping that Raiders young offense takes off at some point.
Right, I would agree, and that's where I'm at with that. And adding Tyler Linderbaum at center, I think that's going to improve a ton also, because Genty was bottom of the league in yards before contact, meaning he was getting drilled in the backfield.
Oh yeah, even watching those games, man, because I had him last year. I took him in that seasonal.
Yeah.
Which I wish I didn't. Watching those games, it's like, oh my god, this guy can't get any movement going. He's too freaking small to like power through it too. So, but all right, well that's what I had. We'd both go James Cook here. So we'll move on to Alex's.
Yep. So for you, I've got your favorite receiver in this rookie draft in Carnell Tate going against one of our favorite running backs from last year's class in Travion Henderson. So we got New England still with Ramondre Stevenson under contract at least this year and next season. So you know he's not going anywhere. They added Jam Miller. Not that necessarily moves a whole lot. But do you think that he improves on that 176 carries last year? Or do they still involve Stevenson, who had the backfield basically to himself in the playoffs?
So this really comes down to what does the Patriots do with the coaching position? There is all types of rumors that Vrabel isn't even going to make it into OTAs as the coach, because more and more shit keeps coming out with this Diana Rossini, and he's actually lied to the management of the Patriots on a bunch of stuff because more things keep coming out. So they're getting to the end of the ropes.
Can't be lying.
Oh,
Always makes it worse.
But if Vrabel's there, I think it's like a 50-50 split, but I still think Henderson does better than he did last year.
Yeah,
and
so I think when I was
Jam
looking last
Miller's
year,
more of like, if Stevenson goes down, he can come in and be our short yardage back.
Yeah, because he has a bigger body too.
Yeah. But Carnell Tate is also on one of the weakest offenses in the league last year, which I think Salah's going to try to establish the run game and play great defense to win those games. Which I don't know how much opportunity Carnell Tate's going to get year one. And it's a coin flip for me dynasty-wise, but for a seasonal, I would go Trayvon Henderson.
Yeah, I think a seasonal you kind of have to, just because of the fact that it typically takes rookie receivers a few weeks to come on. Even Justin Jefferson, I think, didn't start shining till week 4, his rookie year. So to me, it also comes down to how do you feel about Cam Ward, right?
Well, you know how I feel about Cam Ward. I don't feel very good about Cam Ward.
Exactly. And that's where, if you want to try to put the positive spin on it, Brian Dable might look at Carnell Tate and say, he's not Malik Neighbors, but I can put him in that role and he could be successful because we don't have anyone else close to that. And maybe he just turns Carnell Tate into the future of the offense, because I don't think you want to feature Tony Pollard or Tajay Spears.
Well, I'll tell you this, man. Looking on our lads at the Titans depth chart, it's freaking hilarious. They got Tate as the 5th wide receiver. They got Wan'Dale Robinson's number 1. What's his name there? Calvin Ridley at 2. And then they have Dyke at 3. And Elmore at 4. And Tate at 5. It's like, you're kidding yourself. You don't think Tate's walking right into a wide receiver 1 role with Ridley on the other side, and the wide receiver 3 is going to be Wan'Dale Robinson working that slot stuff, because he knows already from Vrabel being with the Giants.
Yeah, you know we're in that season, man. Depth charts, they don't mean anything.
I know. It's just,
you got to earn your stripes.
I more or less just look at depth charts right now to remind me who's on the team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny to look at that. And then when you look at some other teams, like, who was I just looking at the other day? I'm drawing a blank right now, but their receiver 4 was a rookie that was just drafted. Like, okay, well, he's probably going to get on the field because they just don't have anyone in front of him.
Yeah, but that's who we got this week for Brighter Light. Let us know in the comments if there's any two you'd like us to compare.
Fantasy Light.
All right, we're into Fantasy Light, and we'll pull up Alex's 49ers list that he's got here. So this is Alex's thoughts on the 49ers. His must-haves are Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey. His warms are Mike Evans. He's cold on Ricky Pearsall, and his sleeper is Striblin, the new rookie.
Yep. And one of the reasons I have Stribling there as a sleeper is because rookies typically take a while to get going. And if he does get going at the end of the season, that's when you're going to need it most in the playoffs. So I think there's a chance that he could be usable down the stretch there if he is able to pick up the Shanahan offense. And Shanahan, if he is the player that Shanahan thinks he is, to be drafting him at 33 overall.
Well, they almost took him at 27, I found out too. Like if they couldn't trade back that second time, it's like, what are you doing? You could have got this guy in the third easy, probably day 3 on like with your 4th round pick. I don't get it. But your list for the 49ers looks way different to mine.
Yeah.
So the only must-have I have on this team is Brock Purdy. Nobody else I gotta have. Purdy.
No McCaffrey, no Kittle.
Nope.
So
no
for me,
McCaffrey.
part of it with Kittle is that the reports seem positive that he might be on the field week 1, which to me seems crazy, but Achilles heal so differently these days.
Oh, and I like George Kittle, and when he's on the field and you got him, he's a must start. But I'm looking at this like, okay, if I'm drafting, do I have to have him? No, I don't have to have Kittle because he's so injuries brittle Kittle, right? You can't really rely on him to have him. So my warms are Ricky Pearsall and Christian McCaffrey. People seem to forget that Ricky Pearsall was on pace for those first 4 games of the season last year for 1,600 yards, and then he got hurt and could never go back in it. I got Christian McCaffrey on the warm because if he's starting, you got to play him. But at the same time, I also don't want to own him because of his injury history as well. And then on my colds, I got Mike Evans and George Kittle. I just think they're getting up there too late in age, and they're not going to be able to be relied upon for the season. And then my sleeper I got is Christian Kirk. So Christian Kirk, most people won't know. Brock Purdy, that was his first wide receiver he ever fell in love with. He played for, I think, Arizona State in college, and Brock's from Arizona, so grew up a huge fan. And Brock Purdy's the reason that the 49ers went out and got Christian Kirk because he wants to play with him on the team. So I think Christian Kirk's going to get fed a lot in that slot role.
And that could be really interesting if it pans out. My whole thing, it's interesting that you brought up injury with a lot of guys, but you're still warm on Pearsall because to me, that's why I'm cold on him. I just don't think he can stay on the field. I know some of it, like the gunshot, that's not his fault. But even when he had the role and was going to be the guy, like you said, he got hurt. I just don't know if he could put it all together for a full season. I love him when he's on the field. It's just he's not on the field enough for me.
Well, and I think that goes back to the San Francisco electricity plant that's back there too, right? Because he wasn't injury prone for the Gators because he's a Gator wide receiver. He was quite reliable and didn't really miss much time. So he comes here. Obviously, you can't control a gunshot wound. That is what it is. Finished off that season, and then he just come back and had, to me, a fluke injury. So I just think people are forgetting about him.
That's possible. People are definitely forgetting about Christian Kirk.
Oh, for sure they are, man. And that's why I've got him as one of my sleepers. All right. We'll move on to the Arizona Cardinals. So Alex, fantasy thoughts on the Cardinals are his must-haves: Jeremiah Love, Trey McBride. He's warm on Michael Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jacoby Brissett. He's got no sleepers, and his colds is everyone if Jacoby Brissett doesn't play.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it comes down, and that's why Michael and Marv are warm for me. If it's not Brissett, like if it is Carson Beck, I don't expect him to be able to support anything other than Jeremiah Love, and that's just because Love is going to get it on the ground, and I don't know that you draft him at 3 and you don't also throw him the ball. So regardless of who's at quarterback, he's going to get his. I just don't think that these other quarterbacks can support that. I mean, it's Gardner Minshew, right?
Yep, and
Carson Beck. So,
Minshew could throw it.
Yeah, he can sling it. I just don't know that they're going to want him to throw it as much as they would Brissett last year. I think at one point they were on pace for 650 pass attempts.
Oh,
I don't
see,
think
I
we
don't
see.
see much difference between Minshew and Brissett. They're both at the fuck it phase of their career, and Minshew's always been able to throw it out there and just doesn't care, right?
Yeah, I just think the difference is how the coaching staff feels about him is kind of my thought. Is they trust Brissett to throw it a bunch like that, where I don't know that they trust Minshew to throw it that much.
It's also
Who
a new
knows? It's in.
coaching staff than
Yeah,
last
I
year
was just
too.
gonna
So
say that. Yep.
who knows?
So
Here's my fantasy thoughts on the Cardinals. So my must-have, I have Julian, Jeremiah Love, and McBride on there as well. Obviously,
Mhm.
they're clear cut guys for me, but I
Right.
also have Marvin Harrison Jr. up there, purely
Okay.
from the fact that his father's numbers are exactly like his. Struggled the first couple seasons, got
Yeah.
injured as he's showing a little bit that last season, and then going into this year, that year 4,
Yeah.
blew up. Marvin Harrison Jr. did for over 1,000 yards, double-digit touchdowns. So I'm expecting the same thing for Marv here. So we'll see. I've got Michael Wilson in my warms. Same thing as you, right? As long as it's Jacoby Brissett, I think he can do both of them. But for right now, with it up in the air and what Brissett's doing, I can't really put him in as a must-have. And I got no sleepers, and my colds are Jacoby Brissett and Tyler Adgio because I just don't want to own Brissett. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I can understand that completely. Does your take on Marv change at all depending on who the quarterback is? Or you think Marv's good no matter who the quarterback is?
I think Marv's good no matter who the quarterback is, but I think Brissett will be able to support 2 or 3 because
Yeah, because
let's
the
face
pass
it,
volume.
it's going to be McBride and Harrison for the deep balls and McBride and
Yeah.
Love for the underneath stuff.
Yeah. Yep. It is for sure. And McBride is also, I know there's people that are concerned like, oh, Drew Petzing left. Maybe he's the reason that they featured Trey McBride. McBride has been averaging over 9 targets a game for the last 2 seasons. I don't think that it's just a play caller. He's good.
Yeah.
Like you can trust him.
Yeah.
Had 162 targets last year.
I would say he's probably tight end 1 to own right now.
Over Bowers?
I would say so.
Yeah, either way.
Because Bowers had an up year and a down year, right? Because of the
Yep.
injury. So you kind of doing a coin flip where the consistency is with McBride.
Oh, for sure. Especially, yes.
And I want
PPR.
that in my number 1. I want a guy I know I can count on.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, we'll move on to the Los Angeles Rams. And here we have Alex's must-haves are Puka Nacua, Kerryon Williams. He's warm on Blake Corum, Devontae Adams. His colds are all the tight ends, and his sleepers are also all the tight ends.
Yes. So for me, the way that I'm breaking this down is one of these tight ends is going to have a season that you're going to be okay with. You're going to be able to start any one of them at some point throughout the season. I just don't know who it is and when that's going to be, and you're not going to be able to rely on them. So that's where I'm at is I think any one of them can stand out and be valuable, but good luck picking which one is kind of the way I look at it.
Yep, for sure. All right, so for me, pull up mine here. My must-haves, I got Puka Nacua, Kerryon Williams as well, same two. I'm warm on Stafford. Just he's not on my must-haves because of his age. You don't know if he's going to be able to last the whole season at the quarterback, especially with how his back's been the last few years.
And he's just not giving you anything with his legs either, so that's part of it. Is he kind of has to thread that needle, right, with the 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns again.
Yeah, well, I don't expect anything different from him. He's never been a runner.
Exactly.
My colds are Devontae Adams. I expect them to trade him before the trade deadline. And I don't know what team he's going to be on, so that's why he's on my colds. Sleepers, I got Terrence Ferguson and Blake Corum because I think Terrence Ferguson is the tight end to own in this room. Mm-hmm. But I got to have him as a sleeper because we just don't know.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at is we just don't know. So I like Ferguson, probably the best of all of them. But they also drafted Max Claren II this season. So maybe it's that, hey, let's play with the shiny new toy.
Yeah, but McVay hates rookies too. So who knows if he does that. We can move on to the Seahawks. So Alex's fantasy thoughts for the Seahawks, his must-haves are JSN and running back Price. He's warm on Shadeed, Darnold, and Burner, and his sleeper is Zach Charbonnet, and he's not cold on anybody.
Yeah, it's just like I said, this division I think was pretty easy to do. There's for me, cold means like I'm not touching them at any price. And so there's not a ton that I feel that way as far as certain players. With this offense, it's JSN and whoever the running back is. And I think for the first half, that's going to be Price. Maybe he runs away with the job. If not, and Charbonnet comes back even mid-season, then he's going to be valuable because this is still the same regime that drafted him, not the same head coach. Well, no, it is the same head coach, right?
Yep,
McDonald.
Mike McDonald.
So I was thinking
So,
their offensive coordinator left. So
let me ask you this. JSN obviously just walked in, was doing JSN stuff basically right off the hop. Do you not see the same for Carnell Tate? Because I don't see Tate being a problem for that offense at all. And for the Titans, I see Cam Ward, can he get him the ball, being the problem.
Well, if you remember JSN, it took him, he was drafted at pick 20, I think it was. And it took him 3 years before he really broke out. So that's
JSN?
where, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe
he did.
picking it as a top target, but he was a starter breakout pretty quickly.
It was pretty slow, bud. His rookie year was super disappointing. I know that much. And the second year, he didn't quite do it because I was able to trade for him after the first year. You couldn't really do it after he showed, I think it was like 4 or 5 games in year 2. But he was one of the slower guys. He didn't dominate right away.
Huh. Because I remember playing him. I don't think I've ever taken him out of my starting lineup unless he's been on a bye week.
Well, remember, you were rebuilding in at least the one league that you had him because I was going to trade for him.
Yeah, maybe that's just it. But when I think about it, I'm like, I think he's been dominant, but okay, well, I was wrong. All right, we'll get to my fantasy thoughts on the Seahawks. My must-haves, obviously, JSN. I'm warm on the Shaheed, Darnold, and Price just because I don't know what we're going to get with Price. Again, I have no colds here for the Seahawks either. And my sleeper is A.J. Barner. I think he's going to be a top 5 fantasy tight end this year.
Well, and that's part of it too, is looking at the receiver core. We haven't talked about Cooper Kupp. I mean, you might get a game or 2 out of him if you're lucky. But looking at the receiver core, couldn't A.J. Barner be the second on the team in targets?
Oh, yeah, easy.
You know JSN's going to get his. Shaheed, maybe they put a new role in there for him, but he does such different things. Like, I don't think.
Well, I think Shaheed's the speed, stretch the field so that JSN can work underneath.
Right. And so that's where it's kind of who's taking away from A.J. Barner? JSN, but JSN's going to get his anyway. Shaheed does different things. So
yeah, Shaheed to me is like a Mike Wallace type of player is what I call them. Boom or bust. There's no in between. He's either going to put you up 5 to 7 points or he's going to dump 20, 25 points for you.
Yeah, exactly. And as a team, like, you love it if that guy's getting 7, 8 targets a game. But some of those guys just, you can't do that. So Shaheed's a little bigger body, I think, than Mike Wallace, but it's very boom or bust. And those are receivers that are frustrating to have in fantasy.
Well, or fun to own, depending on what side you're on.
Exactly. Depends. Like, are you trying to win right now, and this is the team you're trying to put over the top, or are you in a rebuild? And a rebuild is fun having those guys.
Yeah, but that's our fantasy thoughts for the NFC West. Stay tuned for next week when we'll move on to probably the AFC East. You want to do?
Yeah, I think AFC East. Might as well talk Patriots.
Past events. Sporting events we'd love to go back and see live.
All right, we're into past events, and Alex and I, this is where we talk about, could be football, could be any sport, really. We just go back and say a great sports moment, great sports match, whatever it be, that we like from the past. So for me, I'm going the Super Bowl 51, 2017, between the Atlanta Falcons and the New England Patriots. The 28-3 Super Bowl, man. I still think that's one of the greatest Super Bowls ever played. I remember sitting at the bar.
That's so crazy.
It's called Kelly's at the time. We're sitting there, and we had this whole big room, probably 50 people in there. Halftime comes, 28-3. People are getting up and leaving. I just remember looking at people going, what are you leaving for? This is Tom Brady. You can't leave with Tom Brady out there. Like, if anybody's going to come back from this, it's Tom Brady. And they're like, no, this is impossible. This is impossible. So I start taking bets from people. The whole time I'm taking bets. I'm like, okay, I'll take all comers. I got up to like $5,000 in bets, and I'm taking the Patriots in this game. Already down to 28-3. Like, this is the score. It's halftime. They got down to 28-3 with 2 minutes left in the fourth, I think it was. Something like that. Like, it was great. It was basically a fourth quarter comeback. And people were like looking at me smirking. I'm like, it's not over till it's over. And then the Patriots start moving. They start doing stuff. They get down, they get that first touchdown, and you could just feel it in the air that, okay, this is going to become a game. I don't know if the Patriots are going to win or not, but they're definitely going to get back into this and win this game. And they end up winning it 34-28. Like, just crazy.
It was wild. And it also, like, I can't imagine what that had to feel like in that stadium, because as soon as the Patriots scored that first touchdown, it almost seemed like you could see in the defense that they were just like, uh-oh, what just happened? Like, they were playing tense, and like they knew, oh shit, we might have messed this up, where it was playing not to lose instead of playing to win.
See, I don't even think it was that. I think it was the offense, and Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator at the time, got up 28-3, and then just got away from everything that was working in this game.
Well, that's what he did against the Chiefs when he lost that one.
Exactly. And why I keep saying he's got to get fired by the 49ers to develop as a coach, to learn not to make these stupid mistakes in the Super Bowl, because he's constantly doing it. Like, I blame this loss for the Falcons in the Super Bowl purely on Kyle Shanahan. I blame that first loss to the Kansas City Chiefs purely on Kyle Shanahan. This next time against the Chiefs, he just got plain out fucking coached. It wasn't a decision or a move that he did. He was just plain out coached. So again, Kyle Shanahan.
Yep. That's rough.
Yeah, but that's where I would go. I think it's been long enough that me and you, we could talk about this matchup between the Falcons and the Patriots. And I know it's constantly talked about, but it was a great friggin' game.
Oh, it was. That was a fun one. So for me, I'm going to the 2009 PGA Championship. And this one is fun for a couple of reasons. One, it's a golfer, Y.E. Kim, that won this and never won again. But the thing that was so impressive about it was he beat Tiger Woods in this. And this was the first loss that essentially turned Tiger Woods into the, what do you want to call it? Pariah, I guess, where this was what happened right before all the stuff came out about his wife, where she was chasing him with the golf club and all that. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This event was right before that. And Kim had a 2-stroke lead with 2 holes to play. He chipped in, and then the next hole hit a hybrid shot that landed, I think it was 2 feet away from the hole, knocks down that putt and actually wins. And this was the one that everybody kind of looked back at and went, oh, did Tiger know that was coming? And is that why he lost that? Either way, could you imagine how awesome that has to feel for Kim beating Tiger, who was on that unbeatable stretch during this run?
Yeah, it was crazy. I thought originally when I saw this, and then I saw the year after, but I was like, oh, he's going to that first one with his dad where he won that for his first major.
Nope.
Like the 4 in a row. And then I was like, oh, this one, okay. But
yeah,
this was everyone stopped watching golf after this one.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. And what's crazy is this was right before I went to basic training for the Air Force. So like I was in the airport in the USO waiting to get picked up to actually be taken to the base. And they had all this Tiger Woods stuff on there. So this stuff broke, I think, a week after the PGA Championship was. So it was crazy. Crazy times.
Yeah, and there's not many golf matches one would want to go back to, but this is probably one of them for sure. That's where me and Alex would go if we had to go back to a past event.
Sit down and talk about all the world stuff that goes on around the world under your nose. Never know where we'll end up. Come with us and we'll chase that rabbit down there all over there today.
How's it going? We're in the Shine the Light segment of the portion. This is normally where we talk about weird stuff, but every now and then me and Alex will find something technological wise that we'll want to discuss and talk about. And this one can be kind of personal towards Alex. It's called the One Court Tablet. It's basically for blind people. I've got the website up there. I know you can't see it if you're blind, but maybe somebody can point it out to you. But these things are freaking neat, man. It's basically this tablet where the blind can touch it and know where the ball is on the court. And it's got it for the stadiums or at home. Each one's a little different. I'll be pulling up pictures here as we talk about it. But there's a baseball one, a basketball one, and a football one. And the football one's what I saw originally coming across my feed of this blind guy at the Super Bowl. And it's basically this tablet that's about the size of a laptop on your lap, but just a little bit thicker. And you touch it with your hands and you can follow the little thing that pops up to where the ball is. And to me, how I look at this is just, you still need to listen to the announcer, but it takes out that split second on when you have to wait for the announcer to tell you where the ball is. So you can already know where the ball is and the announcer can tell you who the player is. I would agree. It's like one of those things too. First off, this thing sounds awesome. And it said it's like the size of a tablet. So like, I think it was about 12 by 8, like almost like a sheet of paper and an inch thick is about the size, I'd imagine. And it said it had tactile feedback and vibrations to let you know. And one of the things I run into with football is like, I'll hear the announcer say touchdown and it takes forever for them. And sometimes they don't even say who scored the touchdown until like they're going to commercial break. So there's like that constant buildup. And I'm wondering if this tablet will actually have the ability to like, is it a player number or is it just like X's and O's as players? That's the thing I'm most curious about is like, what is it that I actually see as I'm feeling this tablet? Yeah, and that's what I couldn't really find out either. That's why I think you still just like, I think it's how many dots can you follow at once as a blind person on the tablet like this? There's just no way you can follow 22 of them.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I'm wondering. And like the clip that you sent me, like showed that he was okay, punt, oh, fair catch, and like he was able to differentiate that just from looking at the tablet. So I'm curious as to like, how's that work? Because one of the other things that I saw on their website is that they also do this for actual live events in stadiums, which to me, that would be a super cool experience because now you're watching it with everybody in the stadium and also getting the atmosphere of being in the stadium.
Yeah, it looks freaking great. Now, so there's 3 of them here. The baseball one obviously has the diamond, but slightly to the left on the tablet. And, you know, just how...
Yeah, I can imagine that. You put home plate in like the bottom left corner and it kind of slants out.
Yeah. And then there's like a box that has 9 boxes within the box. So I'm assuming that's your score for hits and that sort of stuff.
It could be that or a strike zone maybe. I'd be curious to see how they would do the baseball. I think baseball would probably be a little easier to follow just with the way that the field is laid out, I think.
Yeah, and even just from the tablet, like looking at it, it looks like it'd be easier, but it's also a slower game, right? And
right,
the
exactly.
Football one's basically the football field with all your yard lines and your end zones. The basketball one has the court. So that's why I'm thinking, at least for the basketball and the football one, there's going to be a little metal thing that pops up and you could follow that with your hand to see exactly where the ball is on the court. Because when I read up about how the guy came to this process, he basically went to a sporting event. I forget which one it said, but went there and he kind of looked over and there's this lady using like this homemade chalkboard type of tablet with bumps on it and stuff that represented the field. And she was moving his finger for him to where the ball was. And this is why the guy developed this, because he's like, oh, this is something that's needed in the world. I'm going to see if I can develop it. And I forget what university is from, but develop this whole process, which I think something like this for you, man, is fucking amazing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially like if I was able to throw the radio broadcast on and have that, like if I could sync the two up, I don't know how much I'd really be missing. Like I said, it depends on how much you're getting with the players themselves, but just following the ball and knowing, oh, okay, they're inside the red zone. Because there's so much that the radio broadcast also, they're better about it, but there's stuff that they miss too.
Well, you know, one thing I was just thinking as you were talking there, what it might happen, because I don't think it's going to be all the players. But what if the quarterback has it, we'll say Tom Brady drops back, and you're following the number 12 drop back because he has the ball. Then he throws the ball. It becomes just a single dot because you're following the ball. And then as soon as, say, Randy Moss catches it, it turns to 81.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was trying to picture is like, is that a way that you could do it? Because the other thing I'm thinking is with the tactile feedback, it'll also let you know, like just based on how it's vibrating, I would imagine the difference between a run and a pass. And if it's a number like that, like say you just make it the number that pops up for who has the ball, then if it's a run, you could also just follow that number and feel that tactile feedback, and you're going to know, oh, that's 10, 15, 20. Damn, this is a huge run.
Yeah.
Like,
It looks
so-
interesting, man. It definitely looks like it'll fill in the gap for you, like on what
Yep.
you'd be missing from when you had sight when watching sports, right? Like it just
Oh,
it
absolutely.
closes that minimal gap that there is.
Yep, I would agree. I'm excited to check this thing out, see what it can do.
Yeah, hopefully we can get you one because they come out in December 2026. But it'd be neat if you could get one to try for this football season and be reviewing it as we go along, talking about football all year.
Hell yeah, it'd be awesome.
But that's what we got for Shine the Light. Remember, people, question everything.
Have a good one.